The Cantina crew review the 5-issue Star Wars The High Republic Fear of the Jedi comics, as well as Edge of Balance manga series. Let's go! Welcome to another week of Cantina Chronicles. This is a weekly Cantina crawl across the Star Wars galaxy where we have alcohol-fueled discourse about all things Star Wars, including news, notes, and theory, synthesizing all media. We contextualize your canon. We are your landing pod for all things Star Wars. Grab a seat. Let's chop it up. Grant and Adam, Sagrona.
Sagrona Tiva.
Sagrona Tima.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah, good to see you too. How's everybody doing?
Really good lately. A lot of good Star Wars memes flying around out there.
I know. It's been really fun watching that.
When the galaxy is unrest and falling apart, there's a lot, there's a lot going on. It's a fun times. So.
Yeah, very true. And
Krennic is firing off missives at Sheev.
Yep.
It's the Sith do as they do.
It is wonderful to watch. Yeah. It's
Krennic made a claim that Palpatine is a Sith Lord. Like anyone's going to believe that.
Yep.
Or care.
Good. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good too. Yeah. Anytime, we're doing comics this week. Anytime we're doing that, I'm happy. This is my wheelhouse. So we got lots to talk about this week. We're gonna do some news. We got our usual news stuff roundup. And then we're gonna cover some High Republic comics. The first thing we're gonna talk about is the Edge of Balance series. It's a manga series, which is kind of a new one for Star Wars and really interesting. And then we're gonna cover the last main run series, the High Republic main run in Marvel called Fear of the Jedi. So we got lots to talk about. Yeah,
big one. Continuing our sort of month of the High Republic here. Catching up and really finishing up this series, which is very exciting. We got 2 more weeks till Trials of the Jedi comes out.
Yep.
I'm going to read that immediately.
Same.
I'm reading Wayseeker right now, which is after, and that'll be a later thing we cover, but it is very good.
Is it good? Nice. I've been looking forward to that.
You sold me on that before we rolled on the pod.
Yeah, I started reading it on the plane this week, and it was on the Starship rather, and the hauler. It's lovely. It's the Vernestra I know and love, and it's a lot about her ideology and like what she's saying about the Jedi. I'm like, everyone has a different perspective, but I'm like, yes, it's exactly how I feel about it. So I already feel a resonance with the main character, and that's always a good start.
Nice.
We've missed a major news story the past 2 weeks. We've slept on it, but not on purpose. We just forgot. Because everyone's been talking about it, and I mean, like everyone. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is alive. It is alive and kicking. Like 3 weeks ago, like right after May the 4th, boom, people started coming on. It hit a new 24-hour high in participants, and then it's only grown since then. I can't really compare it because I never really checked the numbers even at its high point. It came out in 2017 to one of the worst like reviews ever, and they stopped servicing it in 2020, I believe. And I mean, I logged 1,744 hours before the resurgence.
Holy man. Wow. That's
so I played a couple minutes, but it's like my like casual friends that are like not into Star Wars, but are into gaming are like, bro, what's up with BF2? Like, I'm going to download this. Do you want to play it? I'm like, yeah, I do. It's a little bit like being hooked on Spice and like you quit it 3 years ago or 5 years ago, and then all your friends are like, what's cool? Spice.
Yeah. No, it's fascinating, right? And the bad reviews were just mainly because of the microtransactions that it was tied to, right? At the beginning, it was kind of that pay to win scheme, which was really soured everyone on it, which just sucks. I mean, the like quote from the developer at EA was like, it was something about a feeling of accomplishment that we want. It is the most
downvoted comment on Reddit of all time, like 690,000 downvotes or something ridiculous.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people like the sort of theater of war aspect of Star Wars, and I think that game provides it to you in ways that we kind of never got in live action. Given we mainly got montages of war, scenes in Revenge of the Sith and at the end of Attack of the Clones, but that game gives us so much. It's so much of each sort of like battle in each era. There's so much going on in those games.
Yeah, it's a beautiful looking game too. It really is.
It's beautiful. They actually balanced it pretty well. When it was all said and done, they tweaked it hard. Like every month, they were sending out updates, tweaking the combat, and they brought in new units, and that made it fun. And it's a fun game, man. And play Supremacy, it's great, but it's like, well, you really get. I mean, the fact that I played it that much, it's like really the battles evolve differently every time, and you really feel like you're there. And if you have friends, and the more you know how to play, and the people kind of know how to play the game, like the more you can get out of it. And people are like, 3-hour sessions of one game of like Supremacy, let's go, because it's like a tug of war across like taking points, and people are like, that's what I want. Like I want to rack up 500 kills in 3 hours, and like let's go.
Yeah.
So I think all three of us are in favor of Battlefront 3.
100%. It's here's what I'll say, not my cup of tea in terms of a game, but it is one of the best of that version, and I definitely played it a bit and played it with you, Ben, and enjoyed playing it. Mostly enjoyed watching you play it, which is a weird thing for me to say. I'm usually not like a person who enjoys watching games, but I was super fun to watch those games as well. They're really fascinating. Yeah,
I was a bad teammate back then because I was so sweaty at that point, and I feel like now I'd just be like, let's just guard one checkpoint and like hang together and do stuff.
Well, that's spice,
Yeah. Part of the issue is where my life's at right now is like co-op gaming is difficult, right? Because I'm like, I can jump on for 45 minutes and have to jump off. And I would be like, I feel like such a heel to be like, oh, gotta go, guys. Good luck with the war.
Good luck. Have fun battling.
But I know.
What can I ask you, Ben? What you would want out of a Battlefront 3?
Oh yeah, this is the meaty stuff, right? Like every other comment on the Battlefront 2 subreddit, still, it was back then. It's still, what are we getting out of Battlefront 3? And like people just expanding the game. I think it's it's new heroes.
Yeah.
And it's new like ancillary characters, and it's new vehicles, and it's new planets.
Do you remember go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like a school of thought where people are like, just build on this game, just make this game bigger. And I mean, I would think I would put myself in that camp, because it's the amount of energy it takes to rework and redo all the mechanics and all that stuff. It's like, you've got the game that people like playing, like just keep rolling out new stuff. Like if you did a new DLC that was $40 to $60, but it opened up, 5 more planets and like 10 more heroes, you'd be like, all right, let's go. You have all the basic like stuff. And I mean, like people are like, all right, so sorry, now I will answer your question, Grant.
Sure.
I mean, that's broadly, but specifically Coruscant, like that would be sick.
As a map, as a sort
as a
of
map. Yeah. Okay. Coruscant as a map. And then, I think people are talking about bringing in the Mandalorian. Like, I'm very era specific. The Supremacy is like era specific heroes, which restricts you. Galactic Conquest is a beautiful thing, but it was kind of ruined by cross era heroes. But it was like a procedural. Each map was a different adventure that you went through. And it was brilliantly designed. And they're so fun. But again, it's like, then I'm on Endor and Rey cuts my head off, and I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
Would you like it to go across the eras, or would you like it to be a single era?
I think they should add much more to each era. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just build it out. Or maybe you create a new era. Maybe you do a new like a New Republic era, and you get the Mandalorian and Moff Gideon and Ahsoka, and like, that's how you introduce Boba Fett. And
that's the thing, right?
Well, I mean, Boba Fett's already in it, but you
could add that generation Boba Fett. Like, that's the thing, is like, there's enough in the Mandoverse to introduce a ton of characters that you can do. You get Fennec Shan, right? You get like all these other characters.
Jude Law. Why can't I think of his name?
Jonathan Norwood.
Norwood.
Yeah. I mean, you got you got all of them, right? You can even get old Ezra in there, and old, and Sabine, and like, you really
Sabine as a sort of Mando / Jedi. That would be fun.
It's so funny because I'm sort of in the other boat where I would almost want it to be one era and build out that one era in such a way where you're getting all the minutia of all the different units and divisions and it's in understanding all the different vehicles and what all the different vehicles can do and sort of making all the bare bones gameplay more robust in terms of like just way more vehicles, more transports. I think transports were a huge part of OG Battlefront, and the fact that there's not a lot of like people picking up other people and dumping them on other areas of the battlefield is kind of like crazy to me. Like clone gunships are like one of the coolest things from the
that would be really cool
to actually pick people up in clone gunships and land them in make tactical moves that's cool to me, and I don't think you can do that in Battlefront 2.
I imagine just like some guy that just like goes around and picks up casuals and they're like, come on losers, we're going to the front lines. Like that would really help the gameplay because you'd have you rarely have true battle.
That's a TikTok moment. That's too good.
I love that, Grant. That makes a lot of sense. Like, it's really do. I mean, what era would you want, Grant?
I've already said it. I mean, basically, I think the Clone Wars needs to get build out a lot more than we've seen. And then to do even the campaign in the Clone Wars era would be cool because you could do a glorified Republic Commando essentially, and all the gadgetry that those Republic Commandos have is kind of you explore it in those games, but it would be cool to see like new high res, new graphics version of all that stuff.
It would be fun.
Do you remember they leaked Battlefront 3 concept art?
Yeah,
way back when, and their big idea was kind of a what if scenario, right? You would play as like dark side, light side versions of your characters. They'd be like dark side Obi-Wan, light side character, like light side Vader and stuff, which was fascinating.
Yeah. So a real like just
like Infinity's characters.
Yeah, like Infinity's characters. Cool. They like dark side Leia.
See, that's still in the complete opposite direction. Instead of like hyper realism and making all these gadgets and blasters feel like realistic. It's more. I guess they would do that anyways, but just now it's like crazy Force users that don't even exist in the canon.
It makes sense. Like, I don't know if it's good to do, but it makes sense how they got there, right? Because it's like you already play as all the characters. What do you do now, right? And so it's interesting. I mean, I was interested in it because you can play as redeemed Vader, which is like one of my favorite things. Like that's really cool. But yeah, it's one of those things where it feels like this is the undercurrent of this whole thing is like give us Battlefront 3, and it's interesting that kind of their last, I want to say failed projects, but one of their last kind of projects that they had shut down. Is rising as their like most current thing just wrapped up, right? Outlaws went out with a whimper with that second DLC that just it was fine, but no one's really talked about it. It just seems like EA is I could see EA going, well, we need a hit and we need to hit quick, and people seem to be on this, so I wouldn't be surprised if you hear something in the next.
I mean, that's why they went off it to do another Battlefield, and it was like that bombed, like epically bombed. And it's like they put all, they were pulling assets away from this. And it's just like EA was handed this gift with this exclusive contract with, Lucasfilm to make all these games. And they just didn't dithered it away. And then, obviously all the, stuff around it is not great. I think what we're getting to now, and it's fun now to see like posts from former developers of that game just being like, we're so grateful. Thank you for playing this game again. We're glad you're having fun with it. And someone mentioned why the 3 didn't get made. Like they started and then they just didn't have the assets. I think they didn't have the manpower to do it, and woman power, obviously. But but so it's scattered. So I think the answer is if they were going to make a Battlefront 3, I think a different game company needs to make
different studio. Do you have a studio in mind that you'd pick? You think about?
I mean, people really love CD Projekt Red in general, and I know 77 had its issues, but I guess it's a really fun game now. I mean, they're just a highly respected gaming company, and I think they would be great. But I don't know. You guys would know better than me. I'm a pretty casual gamer myself. Except for my 1,700 hours on Battlefront 2.
Right. Yeah, I'm thinking of multiplayer shooters. It's like Bungie is at the top of the list.
Bungie.
But Bungie is kind of one game at a time. But it'd be cool if Bungie, split off and created a whole, division for Silo for Battlefront 3, and it's that polished, it feels that good.
Yeah.
That could be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. But I mean, a company that maybe doesn't do shooters, like maybe that's it, because we get and they focus on the depth of the characters and the content and the environments.
Yeah, because you wouldn't want like the Sledgehammer and Infinity Ward, like the Call of Duty studios. You wouldn't want that approach, right? That would be a little maybe too fast paced and not really with the theatricality that the Battlefield games and EA sort of
right. They want to get people like me. Like, I honestly, Adam, like, this is the only first person shooter I've ever played with intent. I mean, except for like maybe Halo 2, 15 years ago or whatever. But like, because all my friends were playing and it was like the first cross platform or multiplayer thing. But
it's interesting. I feel like every gamer gets their, unless they're into it all the time, everyone gets like one FPS that they get into. And mine was like the old Medal of Honor game from way back when, because you could do the Normandy map over and over again. And I got to the point where I'm like, I could just run through it, grab the Nazi plans and get out in like 2 minutes. The people are getting so annoyed
the Nazi MG nest.
I would end the run in like 2 minutes. I would like speed run it.
That's so
hated
funny.
me. But I was like, I remember I spent like hours. So I totally get it. Like, I totally get, like, if my life were different when that game came out, I'm guessing I would have been right there with you. Yeah.
But I think, I mean, what I was getting at is like the Star Wars IP needs to be a little casual. It has to be easy for someone that's never played an FPS to get into. And I think they, Battlefront did that. Like, I've played the Battlefields and the CODs and stuff, and it's like, it's really technical. Like, you're ranking up your interface and all that. And maybe it's a little easier to perceive for me because I know by name everything they're doing. I'm like, oh, good, like an E11 and E11D. There's the SE22 pistol. Like, that makes sense that it would have a scope. And then, they build it very organically in Galaxy.
How cool would it be to have the clone trooper perspective during the Battle of Geonosis, like going into the Coliseum?
Yeah.
Petrovaki Arena.
Oh, I like that.
Descending down into it, but just from a completely different angle you have yet to see.
Yeah, that'd be sweet, man.
That'd be an awesome app. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't do that.
Yeah. Right.
There is a Geonosis. It's again, I forget the name of the mode, but like a Geonosis map that you like work across. And it is kind of that you like, I guess you're kind of out of the arena and you're like chasing them across the landscape to like where those big round ships are trying to take off. And that's how the mode, ends, is if you can take down those ships with tanks. But it's like it's not the same thing as dropping into the arena with like all the dead Jedi laying around everywhere and like you're surrounded and that'd be kind of fun.
It's interesting. I was just looking to see kind of where are we with Star Wars video games, like what's coming up, just to kind of remind us. Yeah. And there's not a ton, right? There's not much we don't know. Like the Knights of the Old Republic thing is still being talked about. Never going to happen. Just give it up, guys. That's going away. They rumor that every 4 months. Like, it's coming. It's going to happen.
I think it is looked at. I think it is looked at with fondness, though.
I want it. It's just never going to happen.
And I think it's much admired and much respected.
I would be the first to play it. So excited. Never going to happen for whatever reason. Something weird's going on there. Just some kind of like toxic workplace. Star Wars Eclipse still seems to be coming. That's the one from Quantic Dream, but like, who knows? It's like,
how many years has it been? 3, 4,
3, and they're optimistically looking for a 2026 release. So good luck with that.
There's something incredibly important about that film. I think I forgot. But
Eclipse?
Yeah. Where it takes place in the timeline?
It's High Republic era.
Okay.
That's all we kind of know. It's like a narrative adventure. They're referring to it as a branching narrative adventure set during the High Republic. That's
okay. I mean, that's right on the nose. I think like that. It's perfect time for that.
I like their, aside from all the issues with Quantic Dream, I love their games. Like Heavy Rain is a really fascinating game. They make unique games, which I appreciate. Like
this could be the Plagueis game.
It could be, right? Yeah. Then there's one that I didn't know about, and that's Skydance, which is a relatively new studio. It's by Amy Henning, who worked on the Uncharted games. They only have 2 games right now. They have the Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra that's supposed to come out, but that got delayed to 2026, which looks interesting. I know Mark Bernard, who I like, did most of the writing on that game, so that makes me hopeful for that. But they're apparently doing a cinematic action adventure game with an original story. That's it. Don't know when that's going to be. No release date. Who knows? Then there's that Zero Company that's coming out. I think is that later this year, or early next year. That's the one that was like
That's the upcoming sort of strategy.
Yeah, by it's kind of like XCOM, like that thing. It's
Yeah, that's right. We had talked about that. You have like they give you a cadre of like experts.
It's when I'm least interested, but we'll absolutely play, and I'm sure it'll be fun. And then Star Wars Jedi, whatever 3,
right? 3,
yeah.
So,
well, nothing on that.
The Skydance one is the one that's I'm like, I mean, that I love first single player action adventure games. That's what I live for.
If it's Uncharted,
I loved Uncharted.
Yeah. It'll be interesting, right? Because I think it'll be somewhere between Outlaws and the Jedi Survivor games, right? Because I feel like Jedi Survivor, the thing that always impressed me about those games is like how hardcore they are. Like they're not easy games. No. And Uncharted is easier, right? It's a little
and Jedi Fallen Order, the first one was really more like an Uncharted in that it was pretty much on rails, and like Uncharted's absolutely on rails.
Totally.
Which I don't mind, though. I think they kind of read the room, and then Survivor was much more open world.
Yeah, you can only do that on rails.
More open world, I'll say. It's not fully open world, but no,
but you can do things kind of go on side. Which I appreciate.
Kind of Zelda-y a little bit, but like without the skill. You enter into a dungeon and you go through the dungeon, and like
I mean, it felt a lot like Dark Souls, wherein you have a linear path, but then you can unlock sort of secret doorways and thresholds to rejoin those paths and sort of build out the world.
Those games that are on rail, you have to have a killer narrative or else it just falls apart, right? Like I think like The Last of Us is like the prime example of that, right? Like that's a game, because I'm more of an open world guy, but you give me The Last of Us, I do not mind being on rails, right? Like you're gonna tell me that narrative story.
So you told me that's a good game. Should I play that?
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. Also, check out Citizen Kane. It's a pretty good movie, I've heard.
I mean, those games are fantastic. The soundtrack, the Jedi powers, the customizing the lightsaber. Very cool to be double bladed, dual wield, or single bladed, and sort of all that stuff, and really get to express yourself.
Dude, I still subscribe to the sub that's just people showing off how they made their like customized lightsabers. It's just people showing their bit, like, because there's the customization is so intense.
It's wild.
It's like how much weathering do you want on just the steel? Like it's insane, and insane in the most perfect way. Like that's the bare minimum of any lightsaber modification mechanic I want to see in the future, because it's like it's so fun, all the different things that you can do with lightsabers. And then of course it's like dual wield, the cross, like the fact that they made like the crossguard saber be like moved like a claymore like sword, and it's like a heavy. That was so fun.
It was.
I wonder where the third game's going to go.
No, it's
path, maybe like the creation of the path. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, it's interesting. You sent another meme earlier this week. It was like Ahsoka could have been needed during all these things. It's Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka on her phone in a makeup chair. But I was just like laughing because like that's the issue with this, right? Is like you have to explain
what is she doing?
Why are they not here at this time? Like why are they not helping out in the Galactic Civil War? And maybe they are. Maybe they just had side missions, but you have to tell that story, or you got to get them out. So at the end, spoiler alert for a game that's 4 years old at this point. But I really thought at the end of Jedi Survivor, remember they were going to that like separate planet that was cut off from everyone else. Annalore. I really thought that's how it was going to end, and they were just going to get cut off, and that's where they were during the whole time. But
Malachor, you mean?
No, Annalore.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like that mystical planet that had like a portal that then got like closed off. I mean, that could be in there. That's an easy depository for all of your Jedi that you want out of the way, because we don't know when or if it fell again. Is that the end of the path? Is that the ultimate destination of the path? Is Tanalor? Good question.
Tanalor. Yeah, that's right.
Tanalor,
you can't have Ahsoka get stuck somewhere, when she's already been stuck now twice in the overarching narrative.
Right. So it's got to be philosophical, and then you're like, what were you doing though?
Maybe the Inquisitors maybe she's the number one target for the Inquisitorius, and you have a lot of Inquisitor heat, and she takes out like hundreds of them. Like that would be great.
Okay, what if she went undercover as an Inquisitor to kill the Inquisitors?
So Yeah, that's interesting. I think
I
you
don't
two
know.
actually.
I can't subscribe to that.
No, but I think
it's ridiculous, but it would be fun.
Not
but I
getting
think
the Inquisitor Tano stock. I can't buy it.
But I think you both stumbled on it, right? Like I think you've got the narrative right, because you have to like the Inquisitors are such a big part of Star Wars canon at this point, and especially with like if you look at the Obi-Wan series, they're all over that, right? Yeah. And you have to explain why they're there, and then 8 years later they're nowhere. You do not see them at all, and so you have to have someone take it out. So maybe Ahsoka that's her job, is she's the Inquisitor hunter, right? She's taking them out while the rebellion is building, while the rebellion is getting going. She's that's her mission, right? Is to get rid of the Inquisitors. Yeah.
That seems perfect. Like a noble cause. And it would be fun. It's such a glaring omission, and we have now you're gonna have 2 live action series of Ahsoka, and like we still don't know like what is the actual time.
It's so funny because I always thought Ahsoka would be like get the storytelling that Cal Kestis got in a video game. I always thought it would be like this is the video game character because we know she's out there, and instead that we have a new Jedi who I love Cal Kestis too, but it's almost like, man, these games, and I think we talked about it during when these games released, when they were announced or something. I think when they were announced, because when they released I was obviously a huge fan, but when they were announced I was like, man, I've always wanted Ahsoka to be the main character of a sort of a Jedi game, and what better time than Reign of the Empire period to sort of explain her whereabouts.
Because there's 2 gaps, right? There's the early gap is from when last we see her in Tales of the Jedi, and also the Ahsoka novel where she meets up with Bail Antilles, and presumably starts her with the beginning of the rebellion, and we might see that in one of these upcoming novels in the Reign of the Empire series. That would be kind of fun. So that's when you could do like the Inquisitor hunter, right? And then she shows up again in Rebels, so that's 4 or 5 BBY, and then she disappears at 1 BBY, and then she shows up again a couple, probably 6 or 7 ABY.
Yeah. And they have confirmed in the timelines that she disappears, but is like right back in it, like, a little bit away. So yeah, it's just odd. Like, I mean, I guess Sabine wouldn't say it because Sabine knows her, but you think at some point she's gonna be like, yeah, and where were you during the war? It'd be a throwaway line. Like she meets someone, like meets a rebel, like gets on, because she's meeting people, and there's someone throw that line at her, just, and she doesn't need to go big diatribe, just like a sentence. Like, even like, what I was doing. I was helping the cause. Like, that's all you need to do for me right now. Just give me a little bit of that Star Wars lore, right?
Right.
Like,
because if she was around, like, I mean, I love Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Luke Skywalker is the prodigal son, but like you got Ahsoka right there. Why wouldn't you lean on her first? I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
They need to address that at some point. We have only talked about one news item.
Wait, we have the major story. We're bearing the lead here. Casting lead.
Casting lead for Starfighter, which is allegedly shooting right now.
It's unclear.
Late pre-production.
Yeah, I think the rumor is September.
Principal photography. I think getting ready for principal photography. Probably checking out what Ryan Gosling and newly announced Mia Goth look like in X-wing or TIE cockpits, and sort of shaking them around, checking on lighting effects, making sure they have the right lens kit. Get ready.
And those who don't know, Mia Goth's been in a lot of stuff. She, in particular, kind of her biggest or most maybe memorable. She's been in a ton of movies, but most memorable has been like the X, Maxine, and just the third one dropped out of my head.
Yeah, the TIE West.
The TIE West horror movies. That trilogy.
Yeah.
Pearl's
just fantastic. Those movies are incredible.
All three.
Pearl and X especially are really special.
And Pearl is just a really special film. And like, so she's great. And I don't love talking about people's like looks, but the thing I'll say about her is like she's made to be in a Star Wars. She looks like alienish in a very beautiful way. But you know what I mean? Like she's very like, she has like a great look for a sci-fi like fantasy film. Like I think she'll be great, and she's also, I mean, she's a wonderful actress.
And the rumor is that she's possibly cast as sort of the villain or the foil for the Gosling character.
I love it,
which is super fun and very cool if she's the villain and she's throwing her helmet on the ground and angry about the ace, the ace for the possibly the good guys or pirates. I don't know, the faction. Gosling.
I love it. I'm bullish on Gosling. I think, I was just talking about some early movie he was in.
I saw this coming a long time ago.
Yeah. No,
I was like, Ben will just love this Gosling movie. It's gonna
I'm gonna love this, dude. I think he's gonna give us an amazing performance. I think it's not gonna be just like a copy of one of his recent roles. I think he's gonna do some cool stuff.
Oh yeah, he can bring a level of seriousness as well as heart, as well as pain, to the story. Yeah, he could do it.
He's also desperate for a franchise, blockbuster series, because he's had some misses, and not of anything of his own, but he keeps trying, and America's like, we love you. Yeah, I don't love this. And so I think he's really going to want to give it his all. Not that he doesn't do it everything, but yeah.
But Mia Goth, that's the news. Excited. I'm just excited. There's casting, and this is moving forward. And I'm stoked on this film. It's going to be great.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, let's move into the meat of this conversation here. Let's talk about Edge of Balance. Adam, do you want to detail this series for people that don't know?
Sure. It's a manga, like they call it a manga, but it's not technically, because you read it like not normal. You read it like an American comic, but it is normal. That was so ethnocentric of me, like the right way. No,
right.
Yeah, the correct way. No, which I love. I love reading these type of comics. They're in black and white. The pages are slightly smaller. They're larger. Like each of these, there's 4 volumes. Each one's like over 120 pages long. Yeah. They're long form storytelling. They were written by Sheena, and a guest writer. The first one is Justine Ireland, which we all know, and the other one is Danielle Jose Alder, which we know. And they're amazing stories, and it follows one Jedi in particular, Lily, which is an interesting name for a Jedi, but it is like, I love the character arc with her. They do such a good job of like following her. She seems to be like a newly knighted Jedi. She seems to be just left her Padawan. She's still hanging around with her master. You know me. It's a Wookiee. Arkoff. You give me a Wookiee.
Nice.
Yep. And we get so much of him. I'm so happy. Like anytime you give me like Wookiee,
another Wookiee Jedi. There at some point in those like brainstorming meetings for High Republic, they're just like, why don't we have like so many Wookiee
It was like
Jedi?
me. I was there. I was like sending the vibes to them. Like, all I've ever wanted is I love Wookiee Jedi, and they gave me like 3 so far in the High Republic, like 3 main ones, which I love.
I think it's important to mark that really like the first 2 happened phase 1, first 2 issues of this or books, and then the last 2 happened phase 3.
Yeah.
I think we covered the first 1 and 2.
First one, I don't think we got.
Maybe we did the first one,
but we did the first one a while ago. I had to reread it. I didn't remember at all. But it as much as it spans the entire High Republic, phase 1 and phase 3, it is really focused on this one character.
Yeah, on one planet.
Yeah,
Bianchi, right?
Bianchi. Yep. It is. And we don't have to go in detail about the plot, but one of the things I love
what's his planet name?
Bianchi.
Bianchii.
Yeah.
Bianchi.
Yeah. And it is one of the things I love about it is a lot of it is like the Edge of Balance kind of refers to the fact that she is seeking balance, and the big thing that she's seeking between is being rigid and flexible, right? And that's her entire story is learning how to be flexible as a Jedi. And Grant, you would love it. There's a couple discussions about like her at the first book. I think it's the first book, trying to figure out like, if we're Jedi and we're supposed to be for light and life and we're supposed to be defensive, why are we given sabers that kill people? And like, she spends like 5 pages going through the logic of, because sometimes that's the only way to save lives is to use a lightsabers to take lives. And it's really interesting. Like, it's a very thoughtful, meditative discussion on this, which I know we get into all the time. And I really like that. But and so I really love this because of that. And the thing that I think we probably want to spend most time in is in the 3rd and 4th book. We get a lot of Aslan Rael in this. Yeah.
You advertise it as a lot of time with Aslan Rael. We just got spoiled with Into the Light, and we got a lot of Aslan Rael in that.
But compared
to
like
empty sockets, we got goggles on, we got coursing with lightning, we got creepy lullaby.
So Grant's the only one that hasn't read this. So we're in many ways explaining this to Grant as well.
Yeah.
But so you can actually see Aslan Rael. It's amazing. I think the character looks great the way they drew him. Yeah.
And what I'll say is, what I appreciate about this is maybe it's not a ton of him, but it does explain the difference between the Azrael we see in the main run comic, or whatever that comic was, and the one we get in the book, right? Like this explains he goes on a bit of that journey. He like
this is like his first mission. Like Yoda's like, you're stepping out in the field where we got to get you out of here and get you doing some things.
And the big thing is, so Arkov that we didn't talk about is his master. Arkov is his master. So Lily and Rael were both his Padawan at some point. And the big thing that happened to him when he encountered the Nameless is that he was basically seeing Arkov killing him, right? And so like during this whole book, every time he'd look at Arkov, he's basically seeing the monster Wookiee that's like trying to kill him. And so it's really getting into his brain about it. And his whole journey is like defeating that fear. And by the end of it, he no longer sees it. So you can see him in this book slowly taking some steps back towards the light a little bit, which is continued in the book, which I appreciate it. Yeah.
It is really important to the story because like, we read, we covered Into the Light a couple weeks ago, and it just like starts off and like, and as Unreal, you're in on this mission. Like,
remember all the people he saved?
Yeah. We're like, no, I don't remember all the people he saved.
Yeah.
And honestly, he really just saved these children. But the scenes with him, there's like two children. Their name are Viv and
Nima.
Nina, is that it?
Nima, yeah.
Okay, and thank you. Sorry, here we go.
So you get a flashback to.
Like when he's a young Jedi.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's like, and he actually has to confront the Nameless again. And he does. He faces his fear, and that was like part of it. The baddies in this are a really funny name, actually. Niv Drendau Apruk. And I feel like that name is like, when you get like Latin thrown into as like default text when you're like designing something online. That's what Niv Drendau Apruk reads like to me.
Yeah. And I forgot the names. Is that the Boolean?
It's Boolean's like one of his like scientist minions.
Who we've seen before, showed up in one of the comics as well.
Yes. Yeah. Of course, he's bald. Post hair, please. And conniving and sniveling because of his lack of hair. And then
it's a perfect word for him. Yeah.
And we do get some Baron Boolean in here as well. We get him a funny yeet out of here. So it's like I don't even know where this fits in because like Boolean has been captured for like 6 months.
I don't know. The whole Boolean thing is the thing that's throwing off the timeline more than anything in this entire run of the High Republic. Because
I literally think he escapes after one book just so he can do this. So that he can get captured again in like Tempest Breaker. Yeah.
I cannot keep it straight because like in the books are coming out. Not that they all have to come out in chronological order, but like I need, when this is done, similar to the old reading, I need someone to come out with the ultimate reading order for the High Republic. And I may not go back to like phase 1, but I may reread phase 3 like in order to just be like, I need to get this down.
We've been pretty religious about it. Yeah,
we have, but like the books are coming out not in order, right? Like some of the stuff's coming out slightly. And again, it's fine. It doesn't have to be coming out. In
I mean, like
it's all heading to the Battle of Eriadu, where it's.
I know, which we're gonna get to
there
next. Anything else? So the Aslan Rel stuff was cool, and it just seeing him defend those kids, I was like really heartwarming to me.
It was heartwarming, yeah.
And the way it was written is like Reith Silas is like, "Yo, you don't hang out with kids.
Yeah, don't talk to those kids. Yeah,
don't talk to the Padawans." And like it's like Reith, chill, man, because like as the reader, you can see Aslan Rel's like this is actually awakening something in him.
Yeah,
there's like
I love that it's like Camp Counselor Reith and. Deranged psycho murderer.
It literally is Camp Counselor Reith.
Yeah, it totally is. Yeah, and like I read this under very interesting circumstances. Basically, I was sick in bed, so I was emotionally compromised. Okay. But I loved it. It felt like a Star Wars to me, and I don't know if it's because it's the long form storytelling that I love the arc of the character development. I love the timing, the pacing of it. I love the fact that you're telling it over the entire like High Republic. Phase 1 and phase 3, and yet you're sticking with this one character's perspective. And I'm glad I kind of saved it to read it all in one go because it really did kind of connect with me. And then also had like fun beasts, like the Banakians are basically just little
angry birds
with a spork. Like it just gets a spork at some point, and I'm like, this is wonderful. This is like their version of Ewoks. Yeah.
Exactly, but they're like literally look like Angry Birds.
Yeah,
and they just say like "chitty," and like everyone knows what they're saying. It's a great character. And they wear cloaks, so they're like birds in cloaks, which is silly.
It's pretty great. Yeah,
and then what is it? Oh yes, Shosho is one of the leaders.
Yep.
And he goes on a mission to the moon, which is called Astaban, and he goes with Sav, which is a very cool Jedi that we met back on Takodana. In like an earlier thing. He wears a very big hat. So Shosho makes a friend that looks like a Star Wars sloth named Zimtok. That's I guess force sensitive and just has like flowers woven in its hair, and it's just like it's an awesome like sloth buddy that Shosho the Angry Bird rides around, and it's adorable, and I love those characters instantly.
Same. It's great. Same. I'm like I want them to keep it. Doesn't
everything have to be you just said just went in and out.
It's wild.
Like, what just happened?
It's a bird riding a sloth.
Okay. All right.
It all makes
perfect sense. The sloth
is
force sensitive.
It is fine. It goes great. And I just one of those things where I'm like, I really hope they've done some interesting ones at the end. I was looking at the advertisements. They have some adaptations of novels that they've done in this style, which I think they did like the Leia one and a couple other books that I'm like, I definitely will pick those up. And I really hope they continue doing more of these. It doesn't have to be within the High Republic era, but I really like the storytelling, and I think we're kind of under the radar, but I hope it's doing enough numbers that they realize this is a good way to tell Star Wars stories.
It's really beautiful. Yeah, I think, Daniel Jose Alder and Justina Ireland knocked it out of the park because it has a totally different tone than everything else.
Yes. It just brought me back to being like 16, 17, going to the comics book store and discovering comics like this, because I'm just, I grew up and I still read all the Marvel and DC, which are like 30-page, giant color, bing, bang, boom, in and out, quick. And this is just like, long form storytelling in comic form.
Yeah. So it's rad. But all right, so this is like, as we approach Trials of the Jedi, this is a big one. This is the Marvel main run, most recent 5 issue arc leading right up to Trials. And spoiler alert, there's like, I don't know. I mean, I think ultimately we kind of know where it's going. The Nihil are going to be defeated, but from this one vantage point, the Nihil are defeated. So this is kind of probably taking us up to overlap with whatever goes on in Charles Soule's
definitely
book.
Overlap.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Trials.
Yeah, it has to, and it even goes past where the High Republic Adventures is going, because like we actually get a line in the 5th book that is like, oh, that happens apparently in one of the books, that we didn't know yet. So we can mention that if we want to.
Right, but ultimately the storm wall comes down. They don't know why.
Yeah,
and they win the Battle of Eridu. Shocker.
Right. Yeah. I mean, all these things have to happen, we know. But the thing I appreciated most is like in the opening crawl for chapter 1, like it's the most succinct, best summary. I just want to read it real quick. The Valiant Jedi are spread thin as they are put to the ultimate test on 4 separate fronts. And I'm like, please, thank you. This helps me.
Thank you.
Some rally against Nihil marauders who plan to punish the planet Eridu. Others patrol the dangerous border of the Occlusion Zone. A brave few struggle to stop the mysterious blight. Still others battle the sinister Marchion Row and his monstrous nameless creatures. I'm like, thank you for reminding me where we are and what everyone is doing.
I read that too, and I did the exact same response. I was like, oh my gosh, thank you for because they've done it a couple of other previous ones, and I'm like, I need it then too. Like, where is everybody? There's so many characters, and they cross over each other's paths. But
and when they name Keeve Trennis being the head of the Stormwall Defense Fleet like numerous times, it just grounds you where you are in the story.
Oh, can I take us
Marshall? Exactly.
Completely back to Edge of Balance for a second?
Yeah, of course.
Sorry. The one other thing that I thought was really good in it that was interesting is it actually reads as you should read it before you read Into the Light if you haven't read Into the Light yet, because it is like a prequel to that in very ways, because the Drengir are back in this. And the Drengir come back and actually like team up with the Jedi to take on the Nihil at some point. Like it's kind of a wonderful it explains a little bit more of what's going on.
Yeah, I almost wonder, I mean, because they're complete pacifists at the time, but they do say meet, so it's like maybe it's before. It's like not after their apotheosis. They're like what happens in Into the Light.
Yeah,
I don't think. But yeah, they team up with them, and in a great way. They're like wooden zombie people.
Yeah, they turn people into wooden versions of themselves. Yeah.
I had forgot that happened, but they at one point the Drengir were able to turn human beings into wood. Yeah,
and it's something they talk about in there. It's like, so each individual, like biosphere that the Drengir inhabit, they can take on certain aspects. They get like mutated. And so that's the way they explain it. And that basically something about Benaki's biosphere allowed them to turn people. It was clearly like the editor's just like, you got to put this line in because they can't do that anywhere else. But like, it's cool.
So it's a Drengir multiverse.
Exactly. All right. Sorry, we can move on. I forgot about that whole element. That was great. And watching them, looking at how they were drawn in this, they're terrifying.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
It's the scariest Drengir ever looked. Even I guess something about black and white. It was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
But
yes. Back to Fear of the Jedi.
I just real quick.
Go for it.
Do you think that like I attribute the Drengir to Claudia Gray mostly because that was where we first saw them, but I'm sure it was the whole cadre of people. But do you think they have like a very complicated relationship with their plants? That's all I can ever think about when I read about the Drengir. It's just like their houseplants are always dying or trying to kill them, or it's just like they have a very complicated relationship with their plants.
That, or what's wild is I went to give me a weird tangent, but I went to Ace Hardware a couple days ago to buy stuff because that's what you do now. It's that time of the year, and they had Venus flytraps for sale at the front of the store, which is like really strange. Like you can just buy these things now, and I'm like maybe one of the writers just had that and looked at it and went, "There's an idea."
There's an idea.
Yeah, or they watched Little Shop of Horrors.
Little Shop of Horrors.
There we go.
Yeah, I always thought Little Shop of Horrors, and then I thought. It's also like the plague. It's also like a physical version of a sort of plague or an outbreak that's spreading across the galaxy, sort of germinating with their
But I envision like right
great
next
progenitors.
Like I imagine like right next to Claudia Gray's desk, she has like a spider plant, and it's just taking over her house. It like just keeps growing, and she's like always thinking about it, and like that's I don't know. That's my headcanon as to how the Drengir came to be.
Or what if she can't keep them alive? She keeps killing plants, and she has a nightmare that they're going to come back and take revenge.
There you go. Yeah, I love that. There you go. I don't know, but
that'll be our question when we interview her. We'll ask her about that. Yeah,
like how's
your relationship with plants?
Cool.
Right, so catching up with Keeve Trennis and Skier, as they head to Naboo. Nile occupied Naboo.
That's fun. That was a fun bit.
And we're going from Jedi Master Arkoff, Wookiee Jedi, to Kelnaka appears in these issues. Very cool to have Kelnaka in these stories. And we meet Kelnaka's Padawan.
Yep.
Yarzion Vel.
It's a very complicated name. Yarzion Vel.
Yeah.
Yarzion Vel. Yeah.
That was cool. Lorna D,
we saw
Tempest
Yarzion
Breakers
in a previous in the Kelnaka standalone.
Oh yeah, one shot.
The one shot. He was in that. It was all about there. It was actually it was about Yarzion getting a head tattoo.
That's right.
Oh no, it's about
that's right.
Kelnaka.
And it was Kelnaka getting the head tattoos. Exactly. It was his whole story with that. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
So there's also isn't Kevin Scott also writing a finale to these 5 issues? Isn't there something that's coming out with concurrently with Trials?
Yeah, it's the High Republic finale. So I think that's coming out probably. I haven't seen the release date on that, but my guess would be July at some point. Probably with the High Republic eventually.
So that'll have probably some extra storytelling with Keeve and Skier and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen the last of these characters once the High Republic wraps up. I think there's going to be more stories unless they all die.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it'll be nice to have a concise thing, and then I hopefully they do more storytelling within it, but like maybe in a different medium. I don't know.
Yeah,
action, like video game, like whatever.
Yeah,
but but it is interesting, like how again, it's like you can't really say, well, this is this one cadre that always sticks together because they just swap around so much.
Out.
Yeah. But right now the team is Keeve Trennis, Skier. Velko is on the deck of the Geos, which is their long beam cruiser that they're running around in. Defending. So they're on team patrol the
Master Shibaba.
Yes.
Yeah, Master Shibaba, which we'll talk about.
Real Dyro, the reporter, and her droid T9.
Orbalon, who's going slightly insane. He keeps dividing himself.
Has the goo and then the creature with him.
That was like body horror to me when we get to issue 4. I felt very upset by what was happening in issue 4. We'll talk about that. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this.
There's and then I think there's Chit Chit, which is a creature that is a pet of Tarek and Sarah, but Tarek and Sarah were not here.
They're needed on Coruscant.
a kid, a white kid with a blue streak in his hair named Aldon Uluk that I was like, I've never seen a bigger red shirt in my life. Like I was like, every scene I was waiting for him to die.
Yep.
And then ultimately, they're like, also you get Master Sababa.
Yeah.
Sababa.
And
then on the side, right, you're following Lorna D. And
Quinn. We get to see her girlfriend illustrated, which I never seen before.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Scoot is is a little like orb shaped droid. And Tay Sarek.
Tay Sarek back from phase 2.
The way he's drawn is so beautiful now. I like.
He looks so cool. Like an aged Tay Sarek looks awesome because we know him as another little sniveling impish sort of character from
an old
phase 2.
He was a what's it called? What are they called in not the Will of the Force? The Will.
Was he a Guardian of the Wills?
Guardian of the Wills. He was an ex Guardian of the Wills. He started out as a Guardian of the Will and then stole stuff and ran away.
Like a banished Guardian of the Wills.
Yeah. Because I know we saw him in phase 2. What was his name? Something Mac.
Vildar Mac.
Mac. Yeah, and apparently they got married.
Yeah, they were.
We get Vildar. We get a little Vildar when the fear engine's running too, right? Isn't that?
Yeah.
Okay. So.
And that's the big conceit of
you guys want to talk about the
fear engine?
Fear engine.
Yeah.
And Hetar.
I just love how much they talk about fear in episode. Fear leads to hate. Episode 1, and this is the whole thing. And I'm like, wow, they really ran with that in the High Republic. It is all fear based.
I don't know if the Jedi are afraid of fear. Fear itself.
Yes. Yeah.
Nothing to fear,
we don't have just one thing that causes fear. Now we have 2 things that causes
fear. Yeah.
But one lets you use the Force and one doesn't.
Yep. Anyway. If you're clever. So this is another monstrosity built by Baron Voolan. He's been now tampering with Force wielders. And his most, effective tool is this poor a former Jedi named Hatar, who's just strapped into a Force emulator, and she can create fearscapes, which is a tidy little term that means everyone sees a different, an entire world of fear, your literal living nightmare that you're in, not unlike what the levelers do, but without the Force side effects.
Yeah. Which it's easy to kind of poke fun at, but the thing I really, really enjoyed about it is that you have them assuming they're feeling fear because of the nameless later in it. And I like this idea that their fear is fear of the nameless. So they actually create nameless, which aren't actually there. It's a nice little, all over the place. It's actually not the nameless that are making you afraid, but still you're afraid, and you're afraid of the nameless.
And you know what you're afraid of? The nameless. Yeah. Fear incarnate. Yeah. That's really funny.
They're visually spectacular too. The sort of fear toxin moments. It's good stuff.
Yeah. It's perfect for comics, right? It's a perfect use of the medium. Yeah.
Yeah. They all imagined giant flying space faring nameless that attack the size of a starship and attacking it, which looks just beautiful on the page. And then but like you said, Vildar Mac, evil Vildar Mac coming back for retribution, and and a bunch of other fever dreams.
Lorna D fighting Lorna D.
Lorna D
fears herself.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so you get insight into all these characters. Lorna D
still here. Still kicking around.
So then they do Kiev and Kalnaka. They liberate Naboo, and we find out the Nihil are all gathering around Eriadu for a final battle.
Right. Yeah. And there will be a ground battle, right? And that'll be probably the High Republic Adventures.
Yeah, I mean,
this was just the space battle.
Yeah, and it's happening right now in the High Republic Adventures, which we may cover next week to get us kind of up to date to where that's at, because I think that's going to lead up to. But that's currently happening over there. There's definitely some ground battles, but this takes us a little past that in terms of it actually takes us to the very end of the entire thing. It is not just, there's a line, and we can spoil it. I mean, everyone knows, but we'll get there. So anyway.
I mean, I spoiled
crying and they're crying and triumph, but it's not just Eriadu. It's the Nihil have surrendered completely.
Right. So I mean, but where's Marchion Ro?
I know there's more.
What happened on the ground in Eriadu, and why did the storm wall fall? And that's all stuff I think
I mean, we knew it had to get there, right? They couldn't win at the end,
right?
So.
But it was. I mean, there was a moment where like Stormwall's down, and I'm like, what?
I feel like that did happen.
Trennis is sort of victorious at the end of this, and you almost are wondering if there's another side of the story that we're going to explore later.
Yeah, maybe she's like, Keeve, we need, because Keeve isn't. Are there any Luminous folks here?
Isn't Skier?
I don't think there are. There is. I don't think there's any Luminous 9 involved in this. No, because I don't think Skier went. I don't think Keeve was there. I can go back and find the Luminous 9, but but I don't think any of them there. So here we go. Rel, Zetafar, Wreath, Torben, Chris, Man, Buryaga, Ty Yorick.
Ty Yorick,
Monster.
Ty Yorick,
not Tarek.
I love Ty Yorick.
Sorry, and Tarek, not Sarek for some reason. For sure.
All right.
We're picking favorites.
Aslan Rel though too, right?
Yeah, he was the first one I said. Aslan Rel. So none of these people are in the Luminous 9, whatever that is, for whatever purpose that they serve. But they get sweet kits, some sweet gear, and so I'm here for that.
Just to, oh god, I hate that I just used AI to do this. Sorry, everyone. But it worked. So just so that for reference to this, the Stormwall already came down and happened in Temptation of the Force.
Oh
yeah. So basically,
it came down to. Oh yeah,
because they attacked. They attacked the Lightning Craft station.
That's right. They brought it down. I forgot. Thank you for looking that up. Because I remember I was like, oh, there's some blips. Yeah, but it's weird because they didn't talk about it at all in Into the Light.
No, I don't think they. No, I don't think they did mention it. Yeah, it's interesting. We gotta.
Yeah. Okay. We're see. This is why we're here. We're bringing this together for everyone so they can follow it, even though we're kind of stumbling through it.
Oh, I do like that this AI actually cites sources. That's nice.
There you go.
And say Wikipedia. So thank you, Wikipedia, for same thing. They were able to pull it all together for me.
Yep. Hey, it worked.
There goes my job.
Saved the pod. Frankly.
Yeah.
Cool. Space battle, a lot of fighting. Lorna D being Lorna D. A lot of nightmares. They pull it together. Keeve is, as the marshal and leader, like an ongoing bit is that like she just wants to jump into a starfighter and be out there in the fray. And what's her name? Velko, Captain Velko, or what? Like the pilot or the captain of the Geos is like, no, dude. Like I've seen this. You have to be here with me. And then ultimately, that does save them. It saved the ship as it was getting attacked by scab droids.
Garaba the Hutt comes in.
Yeah. So this is now I've got to go back. That's one we were talking about. Like some of these I just want to read casually. Just like as a fan, like on a perfect day to read a Star Wars, I want one in the pocket. I might go back and read those like young reader like novels because Garaba the Hutt sounds awesome and I want to know more about it.
Huge fan of that character.
Me too. I want to talk. Can we talk a little bit about Orbalon and the horror that is his life? Because so he's a gelatinous Jedi blob who can subdivide, and I love the fact that he's just. They don't know what happens if he subdivides too much. It's very important for him because there's multiple fronts, so he's like all different places. And here's the thing. So go talk about comics books for a second. It's every time I saw it, just reminded me of Jamie Madrox from the X-Men, which is just basically known as the Multiple Man who can make clones and dupes of himself. One of the best characters because he'll just like send a dupe out to be like, go learn how to become a doctor for the next 5 years. And then I have a doctor version of me running around. Like he just does all this stuff. But if I remember correctly, if one of his dupes dies, it reintegrates all of the knowledge that dupe learned.
Oh, so that's actually handy.
It is very handy, and like it leads to horrible things in the comics where he actually kills some of his dupes to get the knowledge. Like he actually hunts down some of his dupes. It's that character is wild. There's so much good storytelling around him. I highly recommend. So when Orbalon they first cut off one of his dupes, I'm like, it's multiple man rules. He's just gonna be fun. Oh no, he didn't get any of that brain power back, and I'm like. He lost like 2/3 of himself at least. It's like it is, and he just dissolves by the end.
I kind of lost count after he divided himself like 3 more copies of himself.
Yeah,
you don't know how many vectors he was piloting simultaneously. But I love that you can like read the cognitive like dysfunction happening.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's just like blurp, blurp, like he just can't think. His brain power can't keep up.
That's the boy's like, my reaction time is down, not good since I'm flying a vector. Yeah. But it's like it really was disturbing me by the end. I'm like, oh man.
I know.
Yeah.
And and I mean I don't know if he survived that, honestly. Because he like kind of just like melted. Like I think all his dupes died, and then he's just like kind of a tiny puddle of a creature.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get at least a panel of him in the finale, right? Like that's a hanging thread that they're gonna have. That's Kevin Scott's gonna have to, just that. Ben, again, I think you completely called it, right? Because probably if he shrinks down, like yes, he's just gonna be like a little, like
because there's like a conservation of energy and mass there too.
100%. Yeah. Well done. That's exactly what's going to happen. Yeah.
Someone puts the goo in their hilt.
I'm thinking about the size of a porg. That's kind of like what the animation looked like to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like when he was like a geode size 6 feet of goo. Now he's just like a porg.
I love it. Give me more Oberlin.
Yeah.
Was that character in multiple places or something towards the end of these books?
I think he did
there was
mention
one
about being like
character
on Coruscant or something
else too. Yeah, never mind.
I thought, but I think you're right, Greg, because I thought at the beginning of this he mentioned like, one of my guys is on Coruscant or something. Like I think he did talk about being even further away than like just in that on the
something like that.
Yeah.
Wow. I might have missed that, but I think like he was with Avar Chris in like Tempest in one of the recent things we read.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's interesting. That's some good sci-fi though. That's Star Wars doing it right, I think.
Incredible. Yeah, I like these comics. I think the art is beautiful. I think Kevin Scott just crushes in terms of bringing all these characters together and working around trials, which I imagine is going to shed way more light on sort of everything that's happening and how the Nihil are defeated.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. So yeah, next week I guess we'll probably catch up on High Republic Adventures and maybe scoop up whatever other High Republic things. Actually, there's that audiobook series we haven't listened to. Yeah, that 2-part audiobook series.
Yeah.
That might be a thing too.
Right.
Or maybe we'll say
Wayseeker as well. I mean, might be fun.
Yeah. Wayseeker's
Wayseeker with Acolyte rewatch, maybe.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah,
because I'm kind of itching for an Acolyte rewatch.
You need to give me homework to rewatch Star Wars, and that's not like because I don't want to. It's because like it's hard for me to justify because I have so little time to watch stuff. So that's why I love that like Andor season 2 came out because it forced me to watch Andor season 1. So like, yes, please let's do this. Please force me to rewatch something I like because I will absolutely enjoy it more the second time through.
Yeah, that would be really fun. But so I think we have like a week or two because we can't really. I don't know how fast we want to turn around Trials of the Jedi. I want to give that at least a full week and change to actually just like enjoy. And give our listeners a chance to read as well.
Yeah, I think it comes out. What do you say? It comes out the 17th. So I think we aim for the week after, like because we usually tape on the Thursday or Friday. So that'll give us like 10, 11 days to read it. Yeah, I think that's a good number. So so that means we have 2 more episodes before that, basically.
I think we're going to dive into that book immediately upon because it's the answers we've all been waiting for a long time.
I can't wait. I'm going to read that like crazy. I probably will.
It reminds me, and forgive the reference to the notorious TERF J.K. Rowling, but when the last Harry Potter book came out, I remember getting delivered and literally sitting on the couch to read it before anyone spoiled it for me for like a full day. So similar with this, I'm like, I need to read this before I'm going to have to remember to get it and shut down Instagram. Like I do not want.
Definitely.
But I love that we're going to get a little postscript with the comics to sort of like ease us out of the whole situation, and maybe some more like one-offs or a special thing where there's sort of just a nice postscript send off for all these characters would be kind of fun. Because we've got to know them so well and the survivors, and I don't know, and just like maybe a little hint to where they're headed. I hope this isn't the end. I hope they do more like more ambitious projects like this because and I feel like it was a success. I mean, who knows? They're not going to give away data, but like the fact that they kept adding
more comics, more books, more things to it seems to suggest that people were eating it up, because it grew out much larger than when they first announced it, like in terms of all the supplementary stuff.
So in fighting the Nameless, do you think the Jedi have to use the dark side or something?
I don't think it's that simple, man, because then it would be then Aslan Rel would just be able to dominate them, but he's still struggling.
He's still struggling.
What they need to do, and they actually did a little bit in Balance.
Adam's been like, why
use droids? Just use non-Jedis. Just use anything but a Jedi. That's all you need to do. Give a blaster to anyone other than a Jedi, and you're fine.
I think it's going to be a very humane situation where they find their home planet, they round them up. They figure it out from Row or some way to identify them. They use civilians to round them up, and then they take them back home and they let them free, and like that's it.
And they have been trying to build sympathy in the last few books, right? Because you have all the experimentation on them, and they look all sad and broken apart.
I know. I mean, I'm at a point in my life, and maybe it's just me because I just like animals, and my wife likes animals, and I have a million in my house. But I just I never want to, even no matter how, fangy and evil and monstrous and rabid the animals are, I don't like seeing them die. And, we saw in Edge of Balance, they blew up a Reeker Eye, and I'm just like, oh man, I don't know. I can't help but get a little bummed about that. And I can't help but feel like they're trying, them putting them in a pen.
Oh, so pacifying the Nameless would be the
not
way
pacifying, but letting them go free somewhere, back on their, just relocating them back to their home and being like, we don't go there anymore, and now we know about it. And
what if Avar Chris gets one of that beacon, that rod?
Oh well, yeah, that would
channels her networking.
Yeah, but I think that's how they round them up.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to keep them as pets. Those things are tough to be around. The only person
you could use them on the Nile.
Yeah, you could. I mean, the only person that's immune though is the person holding the rod. So, unless they melt them down and put them in that awesome armor that they're all wearing, which would be cool in the Luminous 9.
Yeah,
I don't know. That'd be kind of.
I'm excited. Yeah. I'm excited for this book.
Yeah. Brad. Anyways, we got more High Republic coming your way, and then whatever news drops, which has been fun. Go out there and play Battlefront 2. Just get back in on it with your friends. It's going strong, and it's a lot of fun. But you're great. Thanks for hanging out with us and having a couple beverages, and we'll talk to you next week on Cantina Chronicles.